Welcome, deep divers. Thanks for joining us again as we take a closer look at the gear we often take for granted. Today, we're looking at something that, well, usually just sits there, doesn't it? The power strip. I mean, when you think power strip, you probably picture that basic plastic thing behind your desk, maybe one switch, if that. It's often just there, an afterthought. But, for anyone who's really invested in their audio gear or video equipment that absolutely has to work, well, you start to realize every single piece matters. And that brings us right to the WolfPack 10-outlet power strip. So our mission today is to unpack this thing. It's way more than just a basic strip. We want to show you how it offers smart control and, crucially, protection for sophisticated AV systems. You might be thinking, really, a power strip, what's the big deal? Well, stick with us, because this one, it has some serious tricks up its sleeve. We're going deep.
That's a great way to put it, because it really highlights something fundamental, doesn't it? What's fascinating, I think, is how often we overlook these basics in our tech setups. We just assume power is power. But in audio and video, especially high-end stuff, clean, controlled power isn't a luxury. It's absolutely fundamental. It affects performance, longevity of your gear, everything. And this WolfPack unit, it's a really interesting example because it pulls together several pretty critical functions into one box, things you might normally pay a lot more for separately. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, like you said, this isn't just about one product. It's about understanding a really crucial part of setting up, protecting, and honestly getting the best out of sophisticated electronics.
Absolutely, yeah. Optimization is the word.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, let's maybe kick things off with what really stood out to me first from the specs. The control aspect. You look at this thing, and the first thing you see are these 10 independent off, F, and on-end switches. Now, that's different, isn't it?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Right.
For someone managing, say, a studio rack or a complex home theater, how big a deal is that compared to just the one master switch we usually see?
Well, it's a massive deal, actually. It's where this unit really starts to separate itself from, your standard $5 strip. Just imagine, okay, you're in your studio, maybe a piece of outboard gear, like a preamp, starts acting weird. Or maybe in your home cinema, the projector's being glitchy. With a normal strip, what do? You probably have to kill power to everything connected to it.
Right. Which means resetting things, losing settings.
Yeah.
It's a pain.
Exactly, a total hassle. But with the WolfPack, you've got these 10 separate switches right there on the front panel, clearly marked. You can just cycle the power for that one specific device.
Okay, so surgical control.
Precisely. Surgical control versus like a sledgehammer approach. It's about efficiency and not disrupting everything else.
So it's more than just on-off convenience. It's about smarter troubleshooting and managing the whole system.
Exactly right. And this raises another important point. Think beyond just troubleshooting. Think about power sequencing.
Sequencing, like turning things on in a certain order.
Yeah. Many high-end components, especially amplifiers and sensitive source devices, they actually benefit from a specific power-up order. You might want your sources, like your streamer or Blu-ray player, to stabilize first, before your big power amp kicks in. Why? To avoid those nasty pops or thumps through your speakers.
Okay, I've heard those before. Not pleasant.
Not at all, and potentially damaging over time. So this unit, with its 10 controllable outlets, it lets you implement that kind of specific sequence manually. It effectively gives you some of the functionality of a dedicated power sequencer, which, can be quite expensive rack mount units on their own.
Huh. So it adds a layer of protection and smooth operation, especially if you got a lot of gear firing up.
Absolutely. Smooth, efficient, and safer. Critical in studios, live and sound, anywhere stability really counts.
That granular control is definitely a game changer. Okay, so we've covered managing the power, but let's talk about peace of mind. Protecting the gear itself. I think we all know someone, or maybe it's happened to us, where a cheap strip just gives up the ghost after a surge. I had a friend lose almost his entire home studio setup. Painful.
Yeah.
Expensive.
Oh, yeah. That's the nightmare scenario.
But besides those big dramatic failures, what about the slower, sort of creeping damage that bad power or lack of protection can do to our expensive AV stuff?
That's a really important angle because protection isn't only about those catastrophic events, the lightning strikes or major grid surges. The WolfPack here positions itself as more of a guardian, right? It goes beyond just basic surge clamping. It integrates what the specs call a professional power sequence controller approach. It's not just blocking a massive hit, it's actively trying to improve the quality of the power your gear receives day in, day out.
Okay, improve the quality. That involves things like transient protection, power factor correction, noise suppression. Sounds technical.
It does sound a bit technical, yeah. But let's break it down.
For someone listening who's maybe poured money into a really nice amp or a 4K projector, what's the real difference they might actually see or hear compared to just a standard surge protector from the hardware store?
Okay, good question. Let's take transient impulse protection. That's not just about the big, rare surges. It's also filtering out the constant little spikes and dips that happen all the time on your home's power lines. Think about your fridge compressor kicking on or the AC unit starting up. Those create tiny electrical jitters.
Okay.
And while they're small, over time in an audio system, they can manifest as like a subtle background hiss, maybe a slightly raised noise floor. In video, maybe tiny intermittent picture glitches or slight color inaccuracies you can't quite pin down.
So it's degrading performance in ways you might not even consciously notice at first.
Exactly, but it's there, and it's stressing the internal components of your expensive equipment. This unit aims to filter that stuff out. Then there's power factor correction. Without getting too bogged down in the physics, it basically helps your gear draw electrical current more efficiently. That means things run a bit cooler, the power supply inside your amp or processor is more stable, and ultimately you get cleaner power delivered to the sensitive audio and video circuits.
Cleaner power, more stable operation. Got it.
Right. It all helps maintain that pristine signal path you paid for, keeping your audio transparent, keeping your video signal clean and free from interference. And underpinning all this, it has a pretty hefty capability, 1,800 watts of AC power, a solid 15 amp rating. Plus, there's a circuit breaker on the back for, that extra layer of safety if you do overload it.
So it can handle a decent amount of gear plugged in.
Definitely. And they also mentioned things like a built-in spike eliminator, a large core input wire, which is good for safety and current delivery. And it's all housed in this metal chassis that includes standard earth leakage and over-voltage protection.
Wow. Okay, so quite a few layers of protection built in.
Yeah, it's a comprehensive approach. The goal seems to be ensuring your equipment gets power that is stable, clean, and, well, reliably protected.
It definitely sounds like a lot of thought went into the protective side. Not just surviving disaster, but also optimizing that day-to-day performance. Now let's shift gears slightly to the intelligence built in and how it fits into a pro environment. Besides control and protection, this WolfPack unit has some smarts and a very purposeful design. That front LCD display showing the voltage in real time, that caught my eye. For someone who's really meticulous about their system or just wants to monitor things, how useful is that constant feedback?
Oh, it's incredibly useful, especially if you're in a location where the mains voltage isn't always perfectly stable, which is more common than you might think. Seeing your input voltage right there at a glance, it lets you know immediately if things are nominal or if there are significant sags or spikes happening that could be impacting performance.
So it's like a little diagnostic tool on the front panel.
Exactly. You're not just guessing or hoping the power's okay. You have a direct readout. It helps you spot potential issues before they become real problems. And then there's the physical design itself, which really screams professional. That 1U rack mount size, the standard 1.9-inch brackets.
Yeah, that 1U rack size is a dead giveaway, isn't it? It's not meant to be hidden behind the couch.
Not at all.
For people building out serious racks, maybe in a studio or a dedicated theater room, how does that rack mount form factor actually help? What's the benefit?
Well, it's all about integration and organization, really.
Yeah.
It allows you to mount it neatly right alongside your other rack gear, your amps, processors, servers, whatever. This cuts down massively on cable mess. You can manage power cords much more cleanly. In a rack, space is valuable, right? So a slim 1U unit is perfect.
Keeps things tidy and accessible.
Totally. And it also helps with airflow and cooling, believe it or not. When things are neatly racked instead of piled up, air can circulate better, preventing components from overheating. Plus, that metal housing isn't just for looks. It adds rigidity, stability, maximum reliability. It feels built to last, built for professional environments where gear might get moved around or needs to be robust.
Like for touring rigs or stage setups.
Exactly. They even mention it's suitable for audio home theater, stage, studio, and minibar or concert tour use. And small details, like having a proper grounding screw accessible on the chassis exterior, show they've thought about real-world professional needs.
Makes sense. It's about fitting into that professional ecosystem seamlessly. Now, I also saw something mentioned in the specs. TAA compliant. That sounds specific.
It is quite specific, yeah.
For most home users, maybe not a primary concern, but it does signify something, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. While it doesn't directly affect, say, the audio quality, TAA compliance means the product meets requirements under the U.S. Trade Agreements Act. This makes it eligible for purchase by U.S. government agencies and institutions, and often large corporations follow similar procurement rules. So if you're outfitting a government facility or a university lab or even some corporate settings, that TAA stamp is often a requirement.
Ah, okay. So it opens doors in certain professional and institutional markets. It's a mark of legitimacy in those contexts.
Precisely. It speaks to sourcing and manufacturing standards. And one other little detail from the specs that's interesting.
Mhm.
Each action delay time, 1 second.
1 second delay, what does that imply?
It implies that when you flip one of those individual switches on, the panel doesn't just slam on instantly. There's a brief, controlled 1 second delay.
Like a soft start for each outlet.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's another small touch that helps prevent sudden inrush current to sensitive components. Just a gentler way of bringing things online, adding yet another layer of careful handling for your connected gear.
That's a neat detail. Shows attention to the little things. Okay, finally, let's talk about the brand itself, WolfPack. In the AV world, brands come and go. But the source material mentions 24-year global home for audio and video products. It's quite a long time in this industry.
Mhm.
What does that kind of history signal to a buyer?
Honestly, it signals stability and experience, which is huge. 24 years means they've navigated enormous technological changes in AV, right? Think about the shift from analog to digital, standard def to HD to 4K and beyond. Surviving and thriving through all that suggests a company with deep knowledge, likely solid R&D, and a commitment to supporting your products.
So it builds confidence. You're not buying from some fly-by-night operation.
Exactly. You're buying into an established ecosystem. The name WolfPack specifically is a registered trademark of a company called HDTV Supply, Inc. And HDTV Supply has been, as the source says, certified since 322,003 and boasts 24 years in business. So yeah, they've been around the block.
Okay. And HDTV Supply itself has some credentials.
It does. They're noted as an exceptional top-quality store rated by Google Shopping and also an HDBased.org approved adopter. HDBased is a major standard in professional video distribution.
Right.
So these things reinforce that the brand is associated with quality and professional standards. It's not just a random name. There's a reputable, experienced company behind it.
That definitely adds weight. And
Yeah.
the price point mentioned was $100.
Yes, $100. And interestingly, the source also notes it comes with extension cables, which is a nice little bonus, adds immediate value.
Yeah. Considering all the features we've talked about, the individual control, the comprehensive protection, the monitoring, the pro build $100 seems, well, pretty compelling, actually.
It really does strike a strong value proposition, especially for someone serious about their setup.
And there we have it, deep divers. I think this journey has really shown that the WolfPack 10 outlet power strip is, well, much more than meets the eye. It's not just about plugging things in. It's a genuinely sophisticated tool. You get that individual device control, robust surge and clean power protection, the real-time voltage monitoring, and that professional rack-ready design. It really does seem like a smart investment for anyone with a complex AV setup, whether that's your dream home theater, a working studio, or even for managing gear at live events. Hopefully this deep dive has given you maybe a fresh perspective. How these seemingly simple accessories can be absolutely vital for getting the best performance and ensuring the longevity of your expensive electronics.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we connect this back to that bigger picture again, it really encourages us to think critically, doesn't it? How often do we actually overlook these foundational pieces, like power management? We spend thousands on speakers, displays, processors, and yet sometimes we plug them into the cheapest strip we can find without thinking about the potential downsides, the subtle performance hits, the troubleshooting headaches, or even, the risk of catastrophic failure. So this raises, I think, an important question for you listening. Considering the investment, both financial and emotional, that you put into your audio and video gear, what's the real cost of not giving it the intelligent power management and the solid protection it actually deserves? Something definitely worth pondering as you look at your own